You know, one of the biggest BS lies they teach us in Wing Chun is that there's no grappling in it. Man, when I went back to coaching, just the folk style wrestling, I'm going to tell you flat out. Now, at 50 years old, I'll be 50 years old in March, and the things that I can't do is I can't keep up with the mindset connected to the pace or the breathing. For those who watch the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight, dude, here's where I sympathize with Tyson, is that no matter how bad your body wants to move or your mind says, hey, move this quickly, it's like this lag time. You might go, hey, throw a punch, and it's like that $6 million man. You think you're doing it, but you're going, it's like, why am I moving so slow? What the hell is this? Your body doesn't respond. It does not respond the same way as it does automatically when you were much younger. Cardiovascular, not a chance in hell can I keep up with those teenagers on a cardiovascular level. The first day in practice with one of the teens walks up to me, considerable weight difference. I was a whopping 237 pounds at 5'7", and at 5'7", he was about 145. So that's almost 100-pound weight difference. Do you think that would stop them? No, they feel no pain. So that's a good thing. I'm like, man, I got the weight on him. All I got to do is sprawl or whatever. I'm going to tell you, though, from personal experience, having that background of wrestling, and I've always wondered, well, which is the two? Or which is the two superior arts? Is it going to be Wing Chun or is it going to be wrestling? The second. I'm not kidding, the second. Now, I had not been in a tie-up for decades. And for those who are wondering what a tie-up is, it's a hand placement on the back of the neck and a position on an arm, either inside or outside control. I had not been in a tie-up for years. And in my wrestling career, tie-ups were not really advocated when I was in high school because they were seen as lazy. You should just hit a shot, right? Get a shot, reshoot, sprawl. If the sprawl is, make sure you wind up keeping a leg, bringing it in. We were not allowed to really tie up. Back when I was in wrestling, my coach did not want us. So the tie-up was like, you could just pause. It's stalemate. It's stalling, right? I'm not kidding. I say this all the time. For those who go from a Wing Chun background into wrestling or grappling or judo, they're like, dude, this is the greatest thing ever in the world. I should have started with this. I was backwards. I started with a wrestling background, came into Wing Chun, and I went, oh, this is a marriage made in heaven. This is ridiculous. And the point that Wing Chun people 99% miss is the contact point. The pressure. What they don't understand in actual fighting is pressure is so much more than the contact in your bridge. And we talk in Wing Chun about the bridge being both a place of contact physically, which is your forearm, and an idea making contact. I'm not kidding. I wrestle and I get in that tie up and I feel like 9 points of contact on the wrestler that I'm about to do takedowns with, and it's not just a wrist-to-wrist Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon, Choi Sao, Q Sao, that I'm going to feel sensitivity, he smacks, and I'm going to do a movement in response. It was my head, my hand, my other hand, the bridge of the arm, the other elbow, how it's feeding into my hip, and I'm going, holy crap. In that moment, after being gone from wrestling for a very long time, instantly stepping back on the mat, instantly my body knowing what to do as far as the rules and the sport and all of this, I will tell you, I was worried that, man, am I full of shit in all these years of Wing Chun? Am I going to be just embarrassed and go, you know what? Yeah, wrestling is a superior sport and a wrestler can always beat a Wing Chun guy and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell you, it didn't happen. The moment I tied up, I was like, oh, God, Wing Chun's superior. Holy crap, this kid doesn't stand a chance against me. And he didn't. And again, too, the weight was the only blessing I had. It was hard to move me. He had technique. He had speed. He had cardiovascular. I didn't have 15 seconds was as long as I could go at the beginning. But then the point is how do you negate shots? Here's what I can't do as a 50-year-old man. My shots as of right now to shoot for a takedown, it's just not possible. It's not going to happen. My body doesn't want to lower levels. It doesn't want to go in. It doesn't want to fight to pull in a single leg. It doesn't want to do any of that. But what I can do is I can use Wing Chun, the inch power, that shock power once you make contact, the points of contact to know how to manipulate the body and the spine, and I can open them up for shots that I'm just not going to take. It's just not going to take. And I would use those as teaching movements. I would dig my thumb right into like the carotid artery or under where the ribs meet the armpit. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is wrestling, dude, but it's Wing Chun application. I'm digging for oil to your spine. And they would do this. And I'd go, see what you did? You just gave me your entire side to wind up shooting a fireman's if I want. Oh, yeah. I would show, head contact. A lot of wrestlers do head-to-head point. I would be digging right in their ear and into their carotid artery with my head and showing, I'm going towards your spine. I'm attacking your spine, angling, facing our center line, and you don't have a takedown on me. So there's a lot of concepts in Wing Chun that are superior for wrestling. And the thing of that is they also exist in wrestling. So are we talking about concepts, or are we talking about a style or a system that's better? I think that all of my years of wrestling and then the 30 years I've been doing Wing Chun, the Wing Chun just took over. And what we fail to recognize in Wing Chun is that the grappling space is what 90% of your contact is ever going to evolve in. And what do you want? You want your Mun Sao Wu Sao up, and you think that it's going to be the Donnie Yen movie. If that's your Wing Chun career, and you're going down that path and you want to be expressive and you want to be all, hey, look at me, I look great, I want to be in the next movies, that is great. For a fighting context, dude, I wouldn't wish that upon you. God bless you. Go to a William Chung school. Enjoy your flash and pomp and circumstance. Test to your 12 levels and kiss the ring and all that stuff. It's never going to be me. I saw, after years and years of just training Wing Chun and welcoming other guys in our school, I've had Jeet Kune Do guys in, I've had wrestlers in, I've had boxers in, and there's a ton of stuff on the channel you've seen. But when it came down to focusing on wrestling and me going, I'm tired of Wing Chun, I want to go back to coaching wrestling and put it out of my mind, automatically I came into place and it's like, damn, you live right there, brother. So Wing Chun, the short range power that I was able to just project into somebody, take the balance, manipulate spinal structure. It was unbelievable how easy it was to negate every single takedown somebody ever wanted to shoot. Now, before I get into this video, this is 5 tricks to win more wrestling matches. I want to watch this together and we'll talk about it and see how Wing Chun applies in all this. Dude, this is the best part. When it comes down to the specific argument, because you're always going to get the shitheads, right? Well, oh yeah, try your Wing Chun and MMA. Dude, number one, have at it, dude. God bless you. Appreciate you, brother. Go ahead. Do your arm bar, flying, butt lick. I don't care what you have. You have zero. I have zero BJJ, zero desire to train BJJ. I appreciate you doing it. MMA, hey, it's awesome. It's boxing, kickboxing, and then a grappling art. Have fun with it. Dude, it's no longer the Ultimate Fighting Championship where you actually had people in there mixing shit up. It's a sport. That's awesome. When it comes down to wrestling versus Wing Chun, we have 2 problems. For the wrestler, you have, how are you going to finish a fight? To finish a match, yeah, you want points or you want a pin. You want to fall, right? You want to get them on their back, mat slaps. Grappling, get them to tap out or put them to sleep, one of the two. When it comes to Wing Chun, well, what is it? Oh, we end to fight by breath, consciousness, or life. You want to knock them out. You want to do all this, all that. I get it. The biggest problem with Wing Chun is there's nowhere to apply your skill. There just isn't. Chi Sao tournaments suck. 90% of you who ever get involved in Wing Chun have no idea how to translate it into actual combat without you resorting to kickboxing. And then it's like, oh, I'm not doing my Wing Chun because it doesn't look like Wing Chun. So there has to be a measuring, a way to measure your progression on a fighting level. And grappling is the closest you get without hurting somebody. Or you glove up and you headgear up and you box because all your tools are taken out of the way when your hands are encased in gloves. And, you're never going to learn your true shit. It isn't until you're able to really apply your Wing Chun in a grappling space that you could see, oh, damn, dude, I own everything. So this is just my personal experience. The second I took my Wing Chun concepts into anti-takedown for grappling, and a lot of them you could work off the bottom position, top position. It was amazing to see those concepts come into play. You're like, I know Wing Chun is real. I know that once you learn the rules of wrestling, those rules are then able to be destroyed by Wing Chun, because wrestling lives in rules that have to be complied to because it's a sport. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to be talking about that a lot more on the channel. Again, I have a love for wrestling. I could turn off my Wing Chun if I maybe I should go back to a seniors, improve my cardio, find a seniors tournament and see how well I would fare. But my God, for those who are truly wondering, when you get in the tie-up and you get in the clinch and you truly understand balance, redirection, and facing and structure, and oh my, you're like an inch power. Dude, I was showing some of these wrestlers, I'm like, can you hit in wrestling? They're like, no. I'm like, really? Really? We were tying up, and most of them come over the top to pull down, which I'm like, dude, you come over the top to pull down, you're inviting them in. I'm like, why don't you take your jump sow energy and attack right into that carotid artery, and then come back like when the first move's in the dummy with the back of the head, and they're like, dude, my brains are swimming. Yeah, that's shock power for Wing Chun, that push-pull, and then one hard, one soft lived in wrestling. It was amazing. So my point being is to come back to the point of wrestling again with Wing Chun. I fell in love with Wing Chun after getting back involved with wrestling and realizing that wrestling is phenomenal. Wing Chun, when you truly understand the application to whatever petri dish you choose to throw yourself in a fighting context, I don't care who says what, it's superior. It's superior. As long as you're not that person who goes, I didn't see a bong sound Wing Chun. You go watch another channel. Go watch another channel, man. Go have fun with it. But it's always going to be concepts. Wing Chun concepts, which are shared with a lot of other martial arts, are superior than any other fighting form out there. And it's amazing to see that all these years later, that holds to be true. Let's take a look at this together. This is 5 wrestling tricks to win more matches by Caden Henschel. I want to take a look at this because I want to see, man, is Wing Chun, how could we look at our theory to apply in this? Now, again, I can't prove this because I'm not in this, and I'm not touching hands or rolling around these guys. But again, the way that I'm looking at it is 50-year-old man, no cardiovascular, outskilled with these technical wrestlers, outskilled completely, but how does Wing Chun apply, and are there any similarities when it comes down to structure and application for a fighting game?
In this video, we're going to be going over 5 wrestling tricks that you guys can do to win more wrestling matches. I'm joined with my brother Carter here. We're both actually rocking in the Wrestle Boutiques. These are the Wrestle Boutique Skunks. These are actually releasing today on Black Friday.
I still wear Adidas, not Asics. Adidas, yeah. Adidas Combat Speeds.
This is called mirroring. I first learned this my early days of high school, and because when a guy reaches up, odds are he's gonna reach up too. When I put my left hand out, he's gonna counter it with his left hand, and vice versa. So basically, this is just what it looks like. As soon as I reach up, his arms are immediately gonna come up, and from this, I can, of course, react and go into my shot. So a lot of the times, especially at the start of the match or really, really late in the match when you guys are lazy and tired. So let's just say we shake hands, start of the match, I boom, go up. As soon as his hands go up, I can drop my levels as his hands go up, reach, drop, and go in on my...
Where do we see that problem in Wing Chun? It's just chasing hands. Right? With the number one concept that you're taught in the first form, define your setting fight line and then punch forward. And I saw this so many times. I would be screaming from the coach chair, he reaches, you shoot, he reaches, you shoot. That reach is the same thing as a boxer's jab. So all of the combat arts live together. What's a boxer's jab do? It's a feeler. It's a feeler. Oh, there you are. Let me deliver that knockout punch. It's the same thing. So in Wing Chun, what do? We chase hands. Here comes this in, and I want to pock you. I want to ton you. Instead of just hitting. Their shot is the equivalence of our hit. Now remember this too. when you truly reach advanced Wing Chun and you understand your entire body's the weapon, not just your fist and your elbow, you understand that this is the same thing. This is a Wing Chun concept that's proven in a wrestling sport. They reach, or they go to do something, and instead of you pucking and then proving your Wing Chun works with a tan da in return, you would punch, right? That's the concept. So Wing Chun is you punch, I tan da. And the actual application should be you punch, I strike. That's not going to negate your punch. This is the proof in wrestling application. They reach, you shoot. Why are you trying to redirect instead of just taking a shot instead?
My double leg. Now, just how I was saying, later in a match too, when guys are tired, we're wrestling here, I'm pushing, I'm pulling him. Sometimes I like to collar tie, bring him in, put my force against some strength, push him away. And I back up a little bit, shake out, I come back in, boom. This is when I go in, push him.
I saw
now,
that.
just how I was saying, later in a match too, when
this is something I started to see where my Wing Chun came alive too.
Guys are tired, we're wrestling here, I'm pushing, I'm pulling him. Sometimes I like to collar tie, bring.
Look at this. Look at his right leg forward, left leg lead, or left hand lead. And that's how we always use our step. We step with the opposite foot that we're punching forward. It forms a better way of always staying face to your opponent. And I started noticing the similarities in Wing Chun. I'm like, oh my God, dude, this stuff lives here. This is incredible. As he goes,
bring him in, put my force against.
This is where I didn't pull in. The one difference, and this is just an example he's doing, is if I was pulling with the right hand, I was using jumps out to drive and stretch forward with the left. And the reason was that I was starting to see was they weren't used to being frustrated because all the wrestlers, they had the same tools that every other wrestler had. I was using trickery. Wing Chun trickery, energetics. This is where what I learned from Phil, the one hard, one soft, messed up every wrestler that I made contact with. They didn't understand how when you grab my wrist, I just let you have it. I'm not pulling it. I'm not fighting you. You want it. And on the other side, I'm digging into you. I'm digging into your ribs. I'm making a fist and digging that knuckle right into your neck. I'm digging into your shoulder. I was doing a lot of short impact power into them so that, if you want to pay attention to this, go right ahead. I'm going to make you screw up by going on this side.
And some strength, push him away. And I back up a little bit, shake out, I come back in, boom. This is when I go in on my shot, because when guys get lazy, that's the best time to go in, especially when they're tired. Anyone can wrestle the first period, the second period, but when you're going the full 6-7 minutes into that third period, that's when you break, that's when you go into deep waters, and that's how to get the takedown.
Yeah, but when you're 50 years old, dude, you can't wrestle that first period of anything. So this is where your concepts really come to life and come to play. And I noticed structure too. My stance was so much different than it was in high school. My back was more rounded. I was bent at the waist. I was head over, hips over feet, and I just lowered my level with most of what I did, and it conserved energy, and there was no separation between my top and my bottom half, which gave me structure, and structure gives more strength when you're moving somebody.
Using mirroring. Next one here for trick number 2. This is called the head roll. I learned this one at Askren Wrestling Academy. They do this a ton. Guys have had insane success with this. I've been doing this for now past couple years, and this is what it looks like. When a guy collar ties, boom, I meet him with the hand. Automatically, I go collar ties.
This was another thing, and I know this is a demo, but we had a big problem with this, and I talked to some of the coaches, and there were 2 high schools. Oh, I want to think it was Mathis. Peatone High School. Was it Mathis? I went to a tournament two weeks ago, and the only schools there, Peatone, which I think they won the tournament, Mathis, they came to fight. Those guys came to fight. A big thing that I noticed in the current high school wrestling game is the lack of tenacity and the lack of intensity in their practices. These kids were, I won't be here practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And one kid came up to me at the end of a practice. The wrestlers were doing wind sprints, and he goes, "Hey, you're one of the coaches?" And yeah, he goes, "Yeah. So I think I want to wrestle. I want to wrestle." I'm like, "You have to talk to the head coach about that one." He goes, "All right, but I won't be able to make Monday, Wednesday, or Friday practices because I got work, and then I'll be there Tuesdays and Thursdays, sometimes Saturdays." And I went, "What year are you?" He goes, "Senior." And I'm like, "It's November." And in my mind, I'm going, I don't want to say anything because this is not, I'm just a guest at this point. But these kids, they're lazy. They're lazy. And watch how he ties up here. Okay, watch this tie up and how soft it is. I'm not kidding. This is how they tie up in matches. That placement that you just saw, that's literally how I saw 99% of the wrestlers tying up in both practice and in the meet. I'm like, but that was the mutual agreement. It's like, this is where I tried showing them, is that a tie-up? Yeah. I go, could you hit people? No, you can't. You're not going to tell me. And jump style is my favorite Wing Chun energy. For those who don't know it, you're going forward, the energy here and here, and you're going right in, and you develop that inch power from it. And I showed them how that jump style, instead of cupping the back of the head and pulling down, you go right in and you hit them, and your whole force of your body's behind them. And they're like, oh my God. I'm like, this is a fight. This is where your 1% of state champion, collegiate, and Olympic wrestlers, you tie up with them, you're going to be like, I am in trouble, because those men are fighting, and it's insane. But sadly, I know this particularly is a demo. This is all I saw. I saw them very softly, like welcomingly tying up. So this is, again, if we're going to look at, well, how does Wing Chun beat today's wrestlers? I know it's a mindset and you're looking at younger people, but they were very technique driven. They had no internal energy going on in their wrestling game whatsoever. So I was like, this, sans the two high schools that I saw at a tournament, Piatone High School, I think it was Mathis, these kids, they sprinted to the line. They were changing their state, ready to go. They were pacing like wild, caged animals before their match. And I'm trying to show our wrestlers, this is it. That's the mindset. That's the mindset. The only problem is in wrestling context, that stays a forced all on all the time. Now, it could be an old man thing, but you have to know when to shut it off. The one hard, one soft. If he wants to push, let him come in, absorb that energy, and then, give them what they're asking for. But with most Wing Chun people, you guys just do not know how to apply it because you don't train this way. You just don't train this way. So again, I got blessed, man. I came from this background. My Wing Chun fits in it, and it's able to be delivered in this, and it's a perfect marriage of combat.
Automatically, I go and grab this elbow. Here, on this elbow, I can control. I can push it in, I can pull it out and go into my shots, but also I can pull it out and go into
what I was doing in Wing Chun was, instead of pushing in and pulling out, I was going in. So here's your tan style energy, right? I would take the elbow and I would dig my thumb into the elbow as much as I could to find the meat and really squeeze on those nerves. Grip strength was so important. And while I'm squeezing on one side, it was typically a left-handed tie, elbow tie with the right hand with the tie up the back of the neck. I'm squeezing the heck up. They're going, ah! And what is that doing? I'm going, do you see what I'm doing? I'm opening your shot, and while I'm squeezing with this hand, my right leg was leading. So they couldn't, I was not at risk for having my right leg at a takedown because they were so just torqued up with that. And again, what do we teach all the time in Wing Chun? At two energies at the same time, body can't handle it. You see that in the first form, the first section, first form, when it's down and forward and up and forward. So squeezing, torquing, and going in, and it would bunch them up. So again, it's grappling, it's wrestling. They didn't know how to handle it. When you're just stuck in one plane, this is wrestling upon wrestling. If we're bringing Wing Chun tactics and Wing Chun concepts into it, this is where those little teeny tiny minute changes and energy applications fit within the rules and the sport of Wing Chun for a win.
My shots, but also what I've seen on Instagram too is Cale Sanderson, if you guys know him, never lost a match in college. He utilizes this a lot. So when guys collar tie, what he does, he's grabbing this, but he's rolling his head onto the other side. All I'm doing is I'm replacing where his hand is to my other side of my body. I'm literally replacing his hand from my left shoulder all the way to the right. And from here, this opens up.
And in Wing Chun, what are we doing that's different? We're always going forward. These are drills. I'm not knocking them, but I'm just saying, do you see where you make that contact? And what in Wing Chun that we would do would screw up, we go energy out to the side instead of going in. So if you look right here, here's where Hyun Sao energy is. What is Hyun Sao in the form? Circling, going forward, circling, going forward. Well, as he's putting his head out, and again, this is just a drill, right? As his head comes out, shouldn't he be going forward at the same time? This is where I saw Wing Chun concepts completely, absolutely dominate. And again, too, if we look at this stuff, if we're going to talk about a fight and not just for the rules and the sport of wrestling, while you're gripping, while you're doing whatever, and you're striking with the other side and you're elbowing and you're throwing in your strikes and your short range power, that's where it's going to dominate. You can absolutely incorporate the strikes and the control and the grappling at the same time. And where do we learn that? Chisao. Chisao. I will tell you flat out, the decades of Chisao that I have done made me superior at a tie-up position in wrestling, and I'm not able to be taken down from that position. It's incredible. It's all there. It's just you got to be able to see it, and most Wing Chun schools, they can't see it. Pak, Fok Sao, palm strike. That's all you guys are worried about. You don't have the translation to the rest of your body becoming the weapon. I do, and it came to life, and I went, this is the greatest. I'm so glad I've been doing Wing Chun for 30 years.
And from here, this opens up an angle. And you guys know wrestling is all about creating angles. So you can see in here,
we have that.
If I go in on a shot, he's strong here, he's gonna back up, and I can't get to that leg. He's strong here, shoot, I can't get to that leg. But what can I do is I have to break the separation and I have to get an angle. So one thing is I head roll. I basically just dip my head, and as I'm doing this, I can circle my feet a little bit too to make it easier on myself. And as soon as I do this, I have an opening.
Do you see the difference? How everybody in martial arts says, well, nobody's going to punch and leave their hand out there. Really? Didn't he just leave his hand out there the entire time in a wrestling match because you're going to be holding on to something? This is why I never listened to anybody throughout the years. Well, you're not gonna do this. If you literally listen to Wing Chun critics for the last several decades, what do they all say? Well, no one's going to leave a punch out there for you to wind up doing your 15 moves to get into X, Y, and Z. This entire drill, which translates into application, shows that this wrestler is going to be tied up, leaving their punch out there, but it's just an arm. This is why you have to think dynamically, and he's able to do 2 or 3 moves off of it. Again, wrestling proves Wing Chun, the ability and the superiority. And it takes the fight out of every argument from everybody. Let's see it in the MMA. You're seeing it in action. You're seeing it in action. This right here. Shut up, dudes. Shut up.
Is I have to break the separation and I have to get an angle. So one thing is I head roll. I basically just dip my head, and as I'm doing this, I can circle my feet a little bit too to make it easier on myself. And as soon as I do this, I have an opening. From here, you can push it across and go into your high C. Another thing you could do is I fake and I come back out, hit my single leg, or what I've been kind of working on too is I head roll and I kind of going right into like a high dive.
Just beautiful. It's all beautiful. All those, every shot you have to look at, because we talk about it all the time, especially in demos. If the goal, and this is a genuine question, comment below. If the goal is to deliver all your body mass into a strike, then you tell me what's the difference between a takedown and a punch. Just the weapon you're choosing to deliver that strike with. It could be your fist, could be your elbow, and then it could be your torso. It's how much force are you applying into it. Those guys who take those shots, damn, they hit hard, and they don't realize they're hitting at the same time. They don't realize that those takedowns are actually a delivery. It's a delivery of your energy into my body. When you shoot a takedown, isn't your job to get somebody off balance, to take them down? It blows me away how we want to separate everything just so people could say, my art is better, my art is superior. It is what it is. The concepts all live there. Just in my opinion, I've never seen one system able to deliver the concepts better or in totality more than Wing Chun does. That's just my experience, and I'm taking that one all the way to the grave.
So in a match setting, it kind of looks like this. And that is how to use the head roll. This works a lot, guys. Play around with this, because this move works. Trick number 3 is we got the hand drag. So similar to the mirroring technique, I've noticed this when I was at a Keegan O'Toole camp, he showed this. I know David Taylor utilizes this as well. So just like mirroring, if I reach up my hand, he's gonna reach up his hand and counter, right? But what I wanna do is I can reach, and I already know he's gonna reach, so I'm gonna grab his hand. Right from here, I can grab his hand. It doesn't matter how you grab it. Of course, all referees are different. If you grab the fingers, they might call you for stalling. I reach up here, I grab his hand. Now from here, what I can do is I can roll it out, roll out the fingers, and then from here, I can just go right into my arm.
Do you see all the side? Oh, that was great. Wait, check that one out. I want to pull this for a second. Number one, do you see all the similar hand chasing? And they do a lot of hand fighting in wrestling. And I'm watching it going, every time we'd hand fight, I'd be just going, attack right up, attack right up, attack right up. I'm like, you can chase my hands all you want. I am, with my sensitivity with Chisa, I'm just going to strike you right in the side of the jaw. A place turned into a strike every single time. When it came down to things like this is a beautiful example. Boom. This is where facing came in, and it was very difficult to find a shot on me because I knew I'd give you my arm in a Russian tie or an arm drag or whatever it was, and I would step and face you with my opposite leg. And it's like it would destroy and go forward at the same time. I did that in a video with Lou a couple of months ago. Yeah, you take that Russian tie, go over, I'm stepping and going into you. So again, I wish I had all these tools when I was in high school. I'd be a 4-time state champ, especially from the takedown position. But it blows me away, the marriage of Wing Chun concepts when you have to limit them to wrestling rules and how they just are superior.
Another way on doing this, not only if you just catch the hand, but not even just the hand, but you can also catch the wrist here, or if I put my hand on his head. Again,
look, I got to reach for that stuff. We're going to find a way to do takedown. Now honestly, this was a very frustrating position because shorter guy, right? I'm a shorter guy. So if you post your hand on my head, same thing as you do it to your kid brother, and then he winds up moving forward and go to whatever. I had to sit there and go, all right, how am I dealing with this and going to do this as an anti-takedown? I didn't. You want to put your hand on my head? Go ahead. I'm staying here now because I know where you're at still. So it's not a punch. But again, remember, what does everybody say? Nobody's ever going to leave their hand out there. Dude, they post it on your head for 2 or 3 seconds to find your movement for shots. And what I would do is, if you understand the concept of the one hard, one soft, I'd let you have it. And I let you feel why I changed the angles and stepped offline. I didn't slap it off. You want to have it? Go ahead. If anything, I would pin it and pull it on. So wrestling is a phenomenal base to progress your Wing Chun concepts to go, holy shit, these work. So many of us just limited at exchanging the Pak Da drills, the feeding a punch straight down line. And that's why Wing Chun sucks in the mainstream world, because nobody sees it as dynamic. Wrestling will prove again where it's dynamic and where it lives.
His hand is gonna grab it, right? Now here's what I do. I drop my hand all like this. I'm circling my feet. My head is going on the inside of his bicep, and I'm pressuring in, and I'm picking up the leg.
Let's move forward a little bit. I want to check out this one, happy feet.
Well. Tip number 4 for wrestling techniques is something I like to call happy feet. Not like the 2006 movie, but in wrestling, when you're hand fighting, sometimes you get this big, strong guy that's just here. He's like, okay, I'm strong, I'm here, but I can't get to his leg. I can't reach. I'm not really powerful. I'm not snapping him down. Wrestling is your whole body. It's not just your upper body. It's not just your lower body, but combining the two, combining the motions. You can see here, the same movement when I'm snapping on his head. You're gonna see me circle my feet because my feet are happy. They're always moving, right? So now when I snap them, it's a lot more pressure.
Look at that beautiful structure he's got too. Okay. Watch this.
Always moving, right? So now
look at this. This is still, he's got straight spine. And all he has to do is lower his level a little bit.
When I snap him.
Look at that, he's lowering his level. You still have Wing Chun structure in there. And what he's talking about is structure. And his feet are what's propelling the movement of his arms. So he's pulling this guy around by his feet, not his arms. Where do we have that in Wing Chun? How often are you taught to step and put the power behind your punch going forward? True time versus false time, right? Time of the hand, time of the body, time of the foot. George Silver was that 14th century swords play. True time versus false time, time of the body, time of the hand, time of the foot. Well, you're learning right there that, oh my God, it's your body that's moving. It's structure. We teach that all the time in Wing Chun.
It's a lot more pressure. I get his feet moving. From here, I can open up.
The only difference is I didn't pull them down when I did this.
Happy, they're always moving, right? So now when I snap them,
and that's, I'll tell you about the snap down in a second.
It's a lot more pressure.
I would be going in, so I would push in. That's where jump cell energy comes in again. Snap downs I saw a lot of snap downs that really aren't snap downs. Snap downs, they still use this of the hand. I was showing some of the guys, you take your pisiform bone and you snap down into the base of the brain, and you send their brain swimming, and you make them see stars. It's still a hit. You come up 1/4 of an inch and boom, right back down. So you go from pounds to pressure for square inch. Why do I want to have a surface area like this covering the back for that when it could be boom and it's a hit? So snap down is a violent motion. I think it needs to be done right at the base of the head, where the head meets the spine, and you really make them see stars. But it's there all with your foot style energy.
I get his feet moving. From here, I can open up an angle.
Go forward a little bit.
Release with trick number 5. This is something I like to call the pause fake. I first learned about this last year, and I did it in my first match this past weekend at the Finley Open. So this is one if I go in on a fake, like I'm shooting, but I'm literally just gonna stop. I'm literally just gonna stop my motion. And a lot of the times too, this works if you're hitting the head. But
this is probably going to be, I bet you anything, this is gonna be one of the biggest proofs for why Wing Chun sucks when it comes down to proving its worth off of striking.
Come back up. So when I usually fake, it looks something like this. I'm like faking, I'm going in, I'm faking, I'm coming back out. But what happens when I fake, but I stay put? Do you see how he's...
Yeah, it's a juke, right? So like a football juke, you run one direction, stop, run the other one. How often do people take the bait in Wing Chun where you jab and it's like, oh, you chase. It's called chasing. Everybody says they chase the hands. You're chasing the hands. But what are you doing about it? It's a natural, like, automatic body response to just doing whatever, but you got to train yourself out of it. Chiso. Chiso. To get out of it based off of reflection, right? The reflexes. So when it comes to this, do you see also now why you are so stuck in the mindset of Wing Chun doesn't work? Because Wing Chun is advertised as taking in a punch and being able to do your 15 moves to negate a punch. And then the problem is that everybody says, well, once you go into a grappling, well, you're no longer doing Wing Chun. It's all there. It's all there. And the difference between a punch versus using your entire body to take someone down, it's just a matter of perspective. So this is why I don't pay any mind to internet trolls anymore. You don't know, dude. You've never been in a fight. You grew up in a generation and age where everything is just online available for you, and you're theorized. Your legacy will always only be theory. You don't go out and pressure test anything, especially in a real fight. So what he's doing is the same thing that people do. This is the guy in the blue is us Wing Chun people. Here's a feint, we chase the hands. Here's a feint, we chase the hands. What should we be doing? They change that. You go right in instead. The blue guy, it represents exactly what we do in Wing Chun all the time, even though we say don't chase the hands, but you're doing it anyways. You're doing it anyways.
You see how he's already standing up? I didn't even tell him to stand up. So what you can do is by faking and staying low, when a guy stands up, that's when he goes shoot. So I'm faking here, I'm faking. Oh, he stands up, going in onto my shot, taking him down. Now in my match actually though too, I was just wrestling and I basically just, I had to get the major, right? And I know I needed to create action. He was kind of wrestling defensively, so I wanted him to make a mistake. So what I did in that match is I was just wrestling, and then I just stopped. And then I waited for him to react. I literally just froze, and he was like circling, and then he took a bad shot. And when he takes a bad shot here, I can just defend, right? Because I'm still aware, even though it looks like I'm lazy, doing something stupid, playing mind games, especially late in the match. That's what
Playing mind games, 100%. You're going to tell me you can't do that when you make contact? What do we do in Chiso all the time? We screw with each other. One hard, one soft, faking around, changing angles. It's the same thing. This is a brilliant example of how Wing Chun it just lives everywhere. And in my opinion, it is one of the only martial arts that is translatable into both striking and grappling tactics. It's just whether or not you can do it. Oh, it doesn't work in BJJ. Dude, I'm telling you, I have no experience and I have no desire to go and do it. I'm telling you, somebody out there, if I was younger, yeah, I'd probably go do it, prove that those tactics do work, right? Because I've seen the limitations of where BJJ, it's like there's certain things you can't do, right? And then what do we always fall back on in Wing Chun? Well, if I could strike you in the throat. Well, I could bite you. I could do this. Yeah, dude. I've seen some stuff where it looks like, why can't you just Phoenix knuckle right in somebody's fucking taint when they're trying to do whatever, or just jam right in their throat and crush their windpipe? Well, that's Wing Chun. Oh, that's not BJJ. I'd break your arm before. Great. And I'm going to be carrying a knife on me. I'm going to be puncturing your lungs 15 times while you're trying to break my arm first. I'll go with a broken arm, but you'll go to the fucking morgue. The point is, stop limiting your Wing Chun by thinking that it's X, Y, and Z. It's supposed to be undefinable. It's concepts. It's facing. It's attacking the attack. It's relaxation. It's fondak, continuation of strike. And that strike is defined by what? Your fist, your wrist, a headbutt. And the problem is what does the rest of the world see? Because somewhere along the line, some asshole who was teaching Wing Chun decided to sit there and say, no, that's not X, Y, and Z. And that's why this birth of the dumb JKD movement is out there, because they think it transcends what Bruce Lee thought it was supposed to be. And this is ultimately, again, to come full circle all the time, why I rag on the JKD guys is if they only trained Wing Chun to the fullest and saw what it is, you'd see that every single thing that you're trying to explore already lives, exists, and has always been in the Wing Chun system. It's all there. It is. It's just defined by your ability to apply it and deliver it in the context of what you're being challenged with. Hope that makes sense. That's it. Make sure you comment below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let me know what you think at the bottom, and I'll see you guys on the next video.